For all organisms, it is not the proportion of oxygen available in the environment, but the quantity delivered to the tissues that is so critical and must be controlled. Several factors affect the rate of diffusion of oxygen or carbon dioxide during gaseous exchange in the lungs and tissues. These factors include the partial pressure of gas in the air, the solubility of gas, and the temperature. Click the heart. What is the partial pressure of oxygen in the deoxygenated blood as it reaches the lungs? Answer: partial pressure of oxygen equals 40 mm mercury. The systemic veins carry deoxygenated blood from the peripheral tissues to the heart to be pumped to the lungs via the pulmonary artery. What is the difference in the partial pressure of oxygen between the alveolar air and the blood around it? Answer: partial pressure of oxygen equals 105 minus 40 equals 65 mm mercury. What is the effect of the difference in partial pressure of oxygen? Answer: the higher partial pressure of oxygen in the alveolar air compared to the blood causes oxygen to diffuse rapidly into the capillaries to reach the plasma. What is the difference in the partial pressure of carbon dioxide between the alveolar air and the blood around it? Answer: partial pressure of carbon dioxide equals 40 minus 46 equals negative 6 mm mercury. What is the effect of the difference in partial pressure of carbon dioxide? Answer: the higher partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the blood compared to the alveolar air causes carbon dioxide to diffuse out from the capillaries to the alveoli. What is the partial pressure of oxygen in the oxygenated blood as it leaves the lungs? Answer: partial pressure of oxygen equals 100 mm mercury. The partial pressure of oxygen in the blood leaving the lungs is close to the partial pressure of oxygen of the air in the alveoli, 105 mm mercury. The blood flows out of the lungs via the pulmonary vein to the heart to be pumped and distributed to the rest of the body via the systemic arteries. What is the percentage saturation of oxygen in the hemoglobin as the blood leaves the lungs? Answer: 100 over 105 times 100 equals 95%. Click alveolus to see how oxygen and carbon dioxide diffuse across the interface structures. Select oxygen. What do you observe? Answer: oxygen molecules pass through and dissolve in the thin film of fluid in the alveolar wall. What happens to the dissolved oxygen? Answer: the oxygen passes through the thin layer of alveolar epithelial cells and the endothelial cells of capillary wall before it can reach the blood plasma. Once in the blood plasma, most oxygen passes into the erythrocytes and bind with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. Why is very little oxygen transported in the blood plasma? Answer: the solubility of oxygen is very low in liquid. Select carbon dioxide. In what direction is the diffusion of carbon dioxide? Answer: carbon dioxide diffuses out from the blood to the alveolar air. Click Close button. What is the difference in partial pressure of oxygen and partial pressure of carbon dioxide between the blood and the tissues? Answer: partial pressure of oxygen equals 100 minus 40 equals to 60 millimeter mercury. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide equals 40 minus 46 equals to negative 6 millimeter mercury. Explain the effect of the difference in the partial pressure of the two gases. Answer: the higher partial pressure of oxygen in the blood causes oxyhemoglobin to dissociate to release oxygen and hemoglobin. Oxygen diffuses into the cells to be used in cellular respiration. The higher partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the tissues causes carbon dioxide to diffuse out into the blood. How is carbon dioxide transported in the blood? Answer: carbon dioxide is transported by the blood in 3 ways: dissolved in plasma, bound to the protein portion of the hemoglobin, and as hydrogen carbonate ion. Summary: the rate of oxygen and carbon dioxide diffusion in the alveolus depends on the partial pressure of the gases in the alveolar air. Partial pressure of oxygen in the alveolar air is higher than that in the blood. This causes oxygen to diffuse rapidly from the alveolus to the blood plasma. In the peripheral tissues, partial pressure of oxygen is lower than that in the blood. As a result, oxygen diffuses out from the blood to the tissues. Oxygen and carbon dioxide gases have low solubility in blood plasma. Oxygen is mainly transported by the blood as oxyhemoglobin in the erythrocytes. Carbon dioxide is mainly transported as hydrogen carbonate ion.